late, but let's get the meeting started. And if we can...
Okay.
No flag to pledge to in here.
No, so shall we just face the window, or...
We can do that.
Let's do that. Hand on your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll do what we have to do.
Make it work.
Do we need a roll call? I think we all know each other here.
Yeah, everybody's present.
Okay, we're all
Good.
present accounted for. No public comments? I did look at the meeting minutes. I didn't see anything. Anybody have any suggestions or changes?
Not at this time.
Okay. So we accept.
Okay.
Need a motion?
And we can just do accepted.
Okay.
Okay, and then the POA is up.
That's me. Sorry I wasn't able to report this last month. We are still doing the quagga inspections. At this time of year, it's a bit slower, obviously, because of the weather, but I have a statistics sheet that shows from July to December. We've done a total of 314 red tag quarantines, and when I say red tag, it's not really red tag. It's those that don't want to do the inspection or are not particularly registered with the POA, but they keep their vote there, that type of thing. We did 448 white tags, which those are more for when they're coming out of the gate. We stop them because they're going to go get gas or they're taking it for service, things like that. And then we did a total of 20 re-inspects. So of those 314, there could have been a few that were actually wet. So we
Okay.
red tagged them, then went back and re-inspected them. So things are still moving along good. Our hope is to actually get some sort of a station set over at Eastport before summertime. What I'm thinking is with the main gate redesign, that center little guard area that we have now,
Right.
my goal is to put that over there so there's some sort of a station for the officers to be able to use during the summer because it does get pretty hot, and I do have a person that's going to be stationed there. They already are, but because of the weather they're not really out there that much.
Right.
But there's the wakeless boat that we have in the East Bay that we keep over there, and then that person does all the inspections. So I don't know if you've noticed too, we've changed where the inspections are done. We've made it more along the side where the boat parking is, the trailer parking, and that way we are hoping to be able to have internet connection so that we can do the inspections on a handheld, and then there wouldn't be the handwritten receipts, and it's a nightmare for processing internally. So that's our goal for before summer, and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be achievable with the main gate redone. It should be good to go. So.
But you haven't had any incidents, just the tagging, but no.
No, we haven't
good.
found any. Yeah, I mean we're keeping up on it. You know, people get frustrated; they don't want to have their boat
Right.
inspected. That's the bottom line, and so that's why you'll see a lot of the red tags, really. But people are understanding the system now. It's been in place for quite a while, so I think they understand. You know, when you leave, just have it white tagged. It saves everybody the hassle of,
Right.
you know, the inspection part of it. So
Right.
it seems to be working.
I like that location.
Yeah.
In the boat launch area,
Mhm.
because if it's a permanent location, people are gonna, just know they pull in and then automatically go in Eastport and wait for the inspector.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna work pretty well.
Right. That was the
Absolutely.
hope. And we still do them after hours because, I mean, we don't have
Sure.
someone there 24 hours. So we have other people that are trained, the watch commanders that can go and actually do the inspections at other gates if that's the case. But
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
trying to make everybody come to the East Gate.
Be good to have an article in the Friday Flyer or somewhere that tells people about it, because there's a lot of new people who live in Kenya Lake
Yeah.
who don't know anything about the fact that we have been doing quagga
Yeah.
inspections.
Probably should do something before summer starts just to
Mhm.
give everybody the heads up again.
When
Before
you give
Memorial
out-
Day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You give out your POA newsletters at the gate, right?
No.
Oh, you
Mm-mm.
don't?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I thought you were doing that.
They did at the beginning, but people weren't taking them, right?
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any, any concern with the main gate construction about boats coming in through the main gate now? Clogging things up, or?
Well, I mean, traffic is going to be bad, no matter if you've
Okay.
got a boat or just 5 cars. I'm encouraging everybody to go around to the east and north gate because it's going to be bad. And I
People
don't.
do come in the main gate and get stopped with their boats.
We wouldn't stop them for an inspection. We'd have them go over to east, but we'd probably have them turn around and go over to the
Well, that's
east.
what I meant. They'll-
Yeah.
they'll have to
We
turn
wouldn't do
around.
the inspections there.
Right.
No. Mm-mm.
Yes, we'll probably want to put something up. We can put something on the city website as
Mhm.
well, or on Facebook as it starts the construction to make sure
Oh,
we
yeah.
tell people with boats to go to the east gate.
Mhm.
Yeah. Tell everybody.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, well, we're
I
trying
wish,
to.
yeah.
Well, we were announcing it during the meetings at the end under comments to hopefully move traffic that way, but
Mhm.
we'll
You
make
have
sure
to
we
hit people
mention
over the
with.
head with it.
I
They're just not
know.
going to get it.
I know. We're gonna hand out flyers to remind people to use the other gates as well, but
Okay.
it's gonna be a backup.
I know, I tell
That's
people
just-
everywhere I go, and so many have no clue, but.
I know,
yeah.
I know.
Can only just keep talking.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do what you can do. What else? Kind of went over the Marine Patrol. We're still busy out there. It's, with the storms, it seems to be more of like the rescue things and towing and things like that. But for the most part, things are going good out there. Not many issues that come up now.
Okay. And we were out on Sunday. Yeah.
The weather was so nice over the weekend.
It was.
Then look, where are we at now?
I know.
Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy weather.
And it's supposed to be hot again by next week.
Yes.
Right. Right. And then I don't think it's gonna get below 70s
Oh,
until I think that we're done
yeah.
with our cold.
Have you had any complaints about people complaining they can't get through the tunnel? I've had one.
Yeah.
I've heard a few.
Mhm. Somebody asked me when we were going to lower the lake level so they could get their boat through the tunnel because they have a fat tower and they can't, they hit the top and it goes blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It hits
No, I watched a guy
repeatedly.
go through.
Yeah,
And
Oh, did he just-
He was standing and had to keep guiding
yeah,
he was getting his little ski pole things and
yeah.
stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah. But it's going to evaporate. I mean, it goes down 5 feet a year, so it'll go down maybe 2 feet between now and May.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I did notice that we're quite green, even on the main
Yes.
lake.
Mm.
Yep.
Our wake was green, and it hasn't been green for a while.
Okay.
So I expect, I know, I did see a bloom by the condos on Bass, by
Okay.
their dock. I did see a bloom there, and one other cove on the main lake. Of course, the east was very thick. So other than just eyeballing do we have any testing going on of the various problem areas?
For the algae?
Yeah,
No.
okay.
No, nothing's going to be done about it. There's
Mm-hmm.
nobody's going to pay for algicides.
Right.
It
Plus you
just
can't.
comes and goes.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't put
Because
anything
no
in.
permits.
Put algicide, it's a drinking water reservoir.
Mhm.
You have to
Right.
get a permit for it, and you can't, and they could do that. The POA could do it, but they don't
yeah.
plan to.
No. No, they talked about doing maybe a combination in the East Bay eventually.
With the alum and the
Right.
algicide,
Right.
or looking
But
to see if they
that's-
could get approval.
Yeah, that's a permitting process, and nobody's getting a permit, so.
No. Although they were talking about keep thinking hydrogen peroxide. It's not the hydrogen peroxide, but it's that same.
Copper sulfate?
Right.
Oh, yes.
And for that, I guess the permitting process is more lax, so that may
It
be.
used to be, but I don't.
Well,
think
it's not even with the regional board, it's the State Water Resources Control Board, the Division of Drinking Water has to
Right.
approve it also.
Right.
Went through this process with Chris Mitchell about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when
Yeah.
the spiny naiads and they wanted it.
Oh.
And it died on the vine,
Okay.
because I told them it'd have to go through a whole procedure, we would need a whole procedure, and it has to go through the health department and they have to approve it.
Right.
Right.
It's not just getting a permit from the regional board for
Right.
applying it, it's also the Division of Drinking Water from the state board.
Okay. Now, if we do end up getting the rains later, the March, April, May It's something we'll have to talk to with the TMDL, but what about the alum treatments? Because
Right.
typically they want to do a treatment prior to the Fiesta Days
It's
and,
usually
and
April.
everybody being there on the lake.
Right.
But I've
Um,
already talked about it, the last TMDL meeting.
Okay.
Tim Moore said that they didn't, if we do get the rains, if the rains continue, and that's the pattern from the 1997-98 El Nino that this one's the closest
Right.
to.
not
We're gonna get
that.
rain in April, May, and June possibly, so they won't be able to do an alum treatment if they can't.
Right,
You know, there's no point in doing it with a big flush of water that's gonna
coming in.
negate everything. It's just too expensive to do
Right.
it like that. So that was his last comment, was that we might not get a spring treatment in this year. And the spring treatments have been the problem ones. With the first two
Yes.
spring treatments
That's right.
were the ones that
Long.
went haywire. One, because it was over-oxygenated, and two, the second one was a weird bloom that occurred and nobody really knows why. pH, we don't know. But the fall ones have gone like clockwork. We
Right.
haven't had any problems, so that kind of
So
tells you something.
Mhm.
Maybe a double up on the fall application instead of doing
Or
spring.
late summer and then a fall,
Yep.
maybe.
Mhm.
Um,
So I don't know, there's a meeting next week, I'll be at that one and find out what their current thinking is.
Okay. EVMD?
Well, whenever there's an alum application, we'll be there. I can go back to the one under council members, so the drought restrictions, they've been continued till October.
Yes.
We may get a reduction in our requirement of the 28%. We may get down to 24%. There's some things that they're credit adjustments that we may get. We don't know the exact numbers yet.
Okay.
So we're gonna get it for growth and climate, so our area.
Okay.
Which is odd, I've seen they've already started approving some, because I saw yesterday on the BC Water News that Fullerton got reduced.
Good?
But I think it's most everybody in Orange County, because I think they gave them a credit for being on the groundwater replenishment system.
Oh. But
Because
that's
they went from 28 to 21.
that's the
Wow.
good news, if we can get reduction down 3% but our February numbers, our January numbers were
3%.
five, was it 3 or 5?
Three.
I thought it was 5.
3%,
Yeah,
and so we're at 24 overall. So if
Okay.
we get the reduction, we'll be right
We'll be
around
in
the
the right
24.
range,
yeah.
Yeah.
But we had months where we were at 32% reduction. I mean, you can't do it in the winter because you're down to 2
Well,
waterings a week and there's nothing else.
And as you
can
guys
do.
have seen the last 2 weeks, 80, 90 degree temperatures, so
Yeah,
we
what
probably, because usually, in my experience in the industry, once it's hot, people start watering.
Mhm.
Right.
Usually takes a week or two of cooler temperatures before people back off.
Mhm.
Right.
My poor mom,
Mhm.
her gardener did not have her sprinklers set properly.
Mm.
I said, your lawn is awful green.
Oh, no.
Brian checked it 7 days a week,
Oh my gosh.
so that got fixed.
Okay.
Oh, her water bill was like almost $300. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But see, that's what it is. Gardeners don't know any
Yeah.
different. They don't care. They're gonna do what they
But mine
think.
does. Mine pays attention and he adjusts it accordingly. Hers didn't.
Yeah.
Because my mom, where she lives, their gardeners for their HOA and stuff, did one station 30 minutes.
Oh, gosh.
I told her, I said, look, you guys need to tell them what to do. You don't need 30 minutes at any station at a time.
Right.
No.
You need maybe 30 minutes a week at a station.
Right.
Yeah.
I said, that
Right.
stuff's running
Straight
down the street.
road, yeah.
Yeah.
Said, you guys are the ones that are in charge, not them.
Well, and a lot of the newer homes, when they first have the sod put in,
Yeah, they
then
water
they
every
turn it
day.
up and they water it every day. But after the sod's established, you've got to back off of it.
Right.
And people don't realize that, and they leave them with that initial watering
Oh,
cycle.
nothing can be what I saw this past weekend.
Uh-oh.
I went to a car show in Indian Wells. Green as can be.
Yeah.
Oh, grass everywhere.
Oh my God.
They're not.
Yeah, because it
they're
was
not
at
getting
Indian
it.
Wells Tennis Club, so
Oh. mhm.
we were parked on grass, all the cars for the car show were on the grass there, and me and my wife got out and I go, I guess they don't think there's a drought down here.
Coachella Valley is gonna get really.
They're gonna get hammered.
slammed. Indio
Yeah.
got slammed, but more of them are going.
Oh my goodness.
Well, Brian did a discussion of the water treatment plant operating principles
dam
at the
operating.
meeting, the city council meeting. The Railroad Canyon Sewer Treatment Plant is still in the process of being renovated. It got very badly behind in terms of
Maintenance.
maintenance, basically maintenance, and so they had to order some parts. It was 6 months before the parts came. They've been down, some of their ponds have been down for a while, but they've got one up, another one coming up, the third
Actually, the
one's
second one
coming.
should be done by now, and the third one
So-
should be starting next week.
And the pipe from Tuscany Hills taking their sewer water, which used to go to the regional plant, now can be diverted to the Railroad Canyon Sewer Treatment Plant so that it can supplement what Canyon Hills uses to water its common areas, because it had some recycled water but still had to rely on potable water, especially, in the hot
summer.
summer months. And so now, we're not there yet, according to Dennis.
No, because we still have some things to do at our Railroad Canyon pond. We
Yeah.
got some piping in our ponds at the plant. There's a project going on right now for that to be designed so we can utilize the ponds more.
Right.
And then we'll be able to utilize more recycled water.
So while the pipe has been built and that project is completed, we can't
Utilize everything.
utilize that water yet because we need to line a couple of the ponds for retention and,
The ones that are by the golf course?
no.
No, these are
Different
actually on
ponds.
site at
Yeah,
the plant.
at
So
the plant.
we have two,
Oh, okay.
we have some
Okay.
ponds right at the plant.
Mhm.
And then
Okay.
just where one of the ponds is, the pipe doesn't go up and utilize the full pond because the pipe doesn't go fully down into the depth of the pond. So
Okay,
we've got to do a
Okay.
few things there so we can actually have the storage for this excess water and then they'd be able to utilize it.
okay.
And then that'll reduce our cost to everybody because we won't be supplementing recycle with potable.
So that's a good thing, and I was informed that that plant, even though the maintenance had been kind of allowed to get out of hand, the plant itself is a good plant. It's not state-of-the-art, but it is reasonable operations for the purpose, whereas the Canyon Lake Water Treatment Plant is really struggling. It's getting its new fixings now. It's getting an epoxy paint. The ladders up and down to the various locations are being replaced. There's a lot of stuff that's happening, but at the end of the day, it's not state-of-the-art, and we recognize that we will have to replace it.
50s technology with
Yeah.
2,000-year water quality standards.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're being forced all the time. We have TTHMs now that we have to handle, so we're putting in an aeration system there that wasn't there before. As we go on, the state is giving us more requirements for different substances in our drinking water, and we have to treat for that. which we
Surface
didn't
water
have to
has
do
more
before.
requirements than
Yeah.
groundwater.
Oh my gosh.
And they've had several rules that came along over the years. Surface water treatment rule, enhanced surface water treatment rule. Like I said, THM's, it's disinfection byproduct because of the water that comes in and all the organics in the water, and we have to disinfect the water. Once you put chlorine on it, it causes these issues. And the THMs before used to be a system-wide average. Now they do it where it's running annual average at each individual location. So we had 8 sample sites all the time, but you averaged all of those over the year for compliance purposes with the health department.
Yeah,
Then they
it's
changed it to
individual.
running annual average.
Yeah.
So it makes it a challenge for the one that's in that area.
And it all costs money, when people, I was accosted at a women's Republican Federated meeting on Tuesday, who is a customer of Western, not a customer of ours, but why are you raising our rates and you cost so much and da-da-da. Nobody realizes that we do constantly have to upgrade everything for compliance. We still have to provide all of our customer service to everybody. We still have to provide operations people to go out and turn on somebody's water, turn off somebody's water, go check a meter that isn't working. There's no reduction in our cost. There's a reduction in our revenue. We lost $5.5 million between April and September because while the governor put in restrictions that we had to abide by, reducing our revenue, we couldn't charge our customers because our hearing was in July. The bills went out in August. Before we receive any money from that billing, it's September. And so we lost 4 months of being able to charge people. Everybody's mad at that. Nobody's happy. But the fact is, it's not us. We didn't
Right.
do it, and we had, I can't speak for years past when I wasn't on the board, but we had about 18 budget presentations. And we have a consultant, because of what happened in San Juan Capistrano, where they were simply, when they needed to raise rates, they simply said, well, we're charging, let's say, $10 per person this month. Next month, we're going to up it 20%, because they thought that was going to come close to what they needed. Well, that's what the court said. You can't up it a percent. You have to show what the costs are
Right.
relative to what you're charging. So we've had a company that's been working with our staff for the last 2 years, I believe, Raftellus, and they're working with hundreds of other water districts.
They're one of the leading consultants
Yeah.
that do rate studies.
So they help us formulate a rate structure that, and it's a bit of guesswork because
Is
we
this-
don't know.
Is this a projection that they're doing?
No, it's based
No.
on the cost of service, so if you go through, like, I'll give you a little more background here, I'll keep it brief. But like I said, we had a 20% reduction of, it's not supply, it's demand, but we can't reduce our system by 28%. We have 711 miles of water main in a 96 square mile service area. We have 12 water wells that we have to maintain, almost 8,000 fire hydrants, almost 19,000 valves we have to go out and maintain, so you have to have staff to do that. About 43,000 service connections that we have to go maintain. That's on the water side. And then we have some other facilities, that stuff that I just described to you, that's what I call our main EVMWD stuff. We have some facilities that the district actually owns when they acquired some small private mutual water companies way back in the day, actually facilities and water rights up in the San Bernardino area that the district actually owns. So we have to go up there every so often to check, make sure the facilities are okay. But it's, you can't, you have to maintain all that. You can't
So
just.
you're not cutting any personnel at all?
We've actually reduced some personnel over the last 3 years, actually, just reshifted people as we've had vacancies. Some of them have been filled and we've refocused areas and stuff.
But we still need all of our people to be working all the time, and lots of people have 2 and 3 hats to do the job. So it's a very big challenge, and it's one of the reasons I'm doing coffees starting next Tuesday at the Sports Stop, and I go to at 10 a.m. to 11:30. I will sit with anybody who walks in and wants to discuss water issues and sort of bring them up to date as to what's happening with our, we're hopeful that we'll have a reduction in our
Right.
requirement, so that we think we can make that goal of approximately 24%. But we're still going to need people to be really, really careful with water and keep doing what they're doing. A couple other things, though, that some kind of good news. We've had a nice uptick in getting grants for things. We got a grant for 700 of the water circulators. People get a voucher of $175. They can go out and buy one, install it, and save a lot of gallons. We're trying to figure out how we can sort of monitor how much is saved. I don't think we
Right.
really can, because you could have one in your house and you could also be reducing your watering. So we don't know how much savings
Is
is
the
coming from
circulating
this.
pump you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, the hot water
For hot water.
circulating pumps.
It'd have to be anecdotal. You have to have people report back that they're not running their water for 30
Yeah, and they
minutes
do.
now.
We are getting those kinds of things.
Okay.
People are saving. I used to have
But
bucket.
it's gonna be a challenge to try and figure out, because you
Right.
got,
Measure
it's,
it.
it's not the only variable now.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you've already had, we've been in since last year in the drought stuff, so we're having to
Yeah.
reduce already. And
Yeah.
then now, how much is it? So you're trying to track when is your baseline? Maybe now that when we get through the drought stuff, or once we're stabilized on that, then you say, okay, here you go back to, say, December of last year, and you gotta wait till December of this year to compare them.
Yeah.
That way, then you can see, okay, and, because typically, the winter time is, you have no outdoor use, so everything's indoor, then you can say, okay, in December, but then you gotta find out, make sure they didn't have any increase or decrease in
Right.
people in the household.
Right.
It's hard, but I mean, I've
Especially
been
I'm gonna
using
do
it.
my charming self, especially if they had any increase or decrease in women in the household that
Yes.
tend to shower longer than others.
Not my household.
You guys can hit me now.
My two
I have a teenage
grandsons-
daughter. I know exactly what you mean.
My two grandsons, when they come from Atlanta, expect 20-minute showers.
Right.
They're college age. And I give them the talk before they go in the shower, and it reduces the shower to 10 minutes, but not, I mean, I don't know what to do with them. So another thing was, we've been getting grants. We just found out yesterday that as part of the Prop 84, 55 million that was going to be allocated by SAPA, we've been given a slice of 6 million, which is a lot. But when you consider this is the whole Santa Ana region, I don't know how they pulled that off, actually. That's a big slice of that pie, and we're going to use it for 2 wells. What we've done in just since, I don't know what the beginning date is, but John reported it yesterday. We used to be about 80% dependent on our imported water from Metropolitan. And the cost of that is very high, number one. That's why it's a bad thing. And the second thing is they've reduced the allocation, so we can't get all the water that we need because of using up their own groundwater reserves. So what's the answer? The answer is we have to find our own sources of water. So we have got some wells online that have been historically not online. We can't use Railroad Canyon this year, but in the future we'll be using Railroad Canyon. If the water treatment plant is working properly, we can, finally treat that water. We have 5 or 6 projects that are going to cost a lot of dollars, over 50 million, I think, that are going to be sources or water storage projects that we call kind of the low-lying fruit. These are ones that are local. These are ones that we have control over already because they're in our district. We don't have to do anything extraordinary to get this started. And John says it's a 2 to 3 year process to get from now, when we're starting to look at exactly what we need to do, to getting them online. So that could reduce, again, we think we've reduced to about 70%, didn't you say?
I think we're a little
yesterday?
under 70 right now.
We're a little
I don't
under
know the
70.
exact number. We're a little under 70% on imported water.
Right.
And some of the projects Nancy's talking about, we, up off of Cajalco, behind the Corona Crossing Shopping Center, we used to have about 32 customers we called our agricultural customers. They were non-potable water customers that were all up through the Temesco Valley. We transferred those to Temesco Valley Water District, and 2 of the wells actually were drilled and constructed as potable wells. There's right on Temesco Canyon Road, there's a RV storage place. The wells are right back behind there. So we're in the process of converting those over to potable, and those will be in the system. We'll get about 1,000 to 1,200 acre feet a year. And between groundwater production and imported, like she said, the difference is about $500 to $600 an acre foot. So that adds up quickly, even though we're spending money on these projects, that ROI, gets it over, and then once you've paid off that project through those savings, you're saving money going forward. We had an old well down off of Palomar Road where Mission Trail turns into Palomar and Wildemar. We're going to be drilling a new well down there also, so that'll be actually new water. And then, like you said, these ASR wells, which we're getting, ASR is what they call aquifer storage and recovery. So if we ever get lots of water and snowpack up north and there's excess water, Met will typically buy a lot of it, because what they do is, so say like we get real full this winter, next winter they still have a lot of water in the reservoirs up there, they'll release all that water to make room for next year's storms. So they get rid of it cheaply. So whoever can use it or who doesn't, and then Met will typically buy it. And then they'll offer it to all their member agencies. So and then a lot of the groundwater areas, they'll put it in the ground for their producers. So we could buy it and put it in what these are injection wells, and then we bring it out later. So we'll buy it cheaply, put it in the ground, and then we'll have it available. We'll buy it cheaper than Met treated water. And then we'll be able to produce it later on. So we've got 6, that's what that other meeting was that I was in. That's why we're in here.
Oh.
We were in there talking about the kickoff meeting for that. So we'll be putting one in our back basin area, so like Summerlee area, and then there'll be one in what we call the north basin, northwest portion of the lake, around the lake area. And then that all goes into what we call the wells will go into our loop that gets distributed throughout the city, throughout the agency. And then we'll be probably down the road drilling, putting some more wells in the Wildemar area in some different basins and producing out of there. And we think we can get at least 1,500 acre feet a year out of there.
On the sewer treatment side, we have 4 plants. We have one.
3. Sewer treatment 3. Regional, railroad, and horse thief.
I'm counting the Santa Rosa now.
Oh, yeah.
Got one. We just got one. It's not, we're still working through the kinks, but we've signed a huge agreement. We have the Horse Thief Canyon area water treatment, sewer treatment plant, the Railroad Canyon one, our big regional one. And we didn't have anything in the southern region. And so that, and Rancho California Water District had the Santa Rosa water treatment plant, a sewer treatment plant. And they were in need of a little help in paying for their debt on it, and it was also not in good shape. And so we and Western Municipal Water District formed a JPA, and it was just signed in, I think, November, and we're working out some of the legal language as to who gets what. It's a tremendous advantage for our district because we get 40% of the treated water from it, which is huge. It was going to originally be 33 1/3% for each of the people, but Western doesn't have a lot of retail customers and didn't need all that water. Rancho did, we did, worked out the agreement. So we get
Nice.
40%, and that is going to be huge when it's all, coming through. We had a huge consultant effort to figure out whether it was cheaper to go in with that group and use the existing plant, or to build our own, or to take the customers' effluent up the hill, over the hill to our regional plant, which we found was going to cost an absolute fortune. So we looked at all the options, which we always do, and we found out, according to our consultant, definitely better to go in with Rancho. And so that's, I haven't toured it yet. There's going to be a tour coming up sometime for the board. But we're excited about that because that gives us a whole lot of recycled water. And that area of Wildemar that is growing so quickly, they want it. They had no recycled water. We put in a pipeline along Clinton Keith. They have recycled water for that shopping center and their common areas, but there's a whole lot of other areas of Wildemar that would like to have that. So we have customers. Most people don't realize it. We have 5 cities, customers in 5 cities. We have customers in Murrieta. We share that with Western and Eastern. We have customers in Wildemar, and we have customers in Lake Elsinore and Canyon Lake, and we have customers in Corona. The Horse Thief area is an unincorporated area, but it's, I don't know if it's considered, it isn't part of Corona. They don't want to be part of Corona.
No,
But
but they have the Corona
They
post
have the
office
Corona
address,
post
yeah.
office,
Right.
and so, and we don't have any other customers in Corona other than our Temescal Valley people. So there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of moving parts. Our Splash into Spring event is March 12th. Come bring kids and we'll get you. I always bring some flyers around to the cities and to Tuscany, Canyon Hills, Canyon Lake, Meadowbrook, and Sedco for that one. But it is a really great opportunity. Our employees take the whole day and within their departments explain what their department does. The kids get to go to the water treatment plant. They get to ride on a wagon to get there. We show Seymour, who is our submarine underwater
Little diving
detection
camera.
device.
That we can use in our tanks just for
Yeah.
quick and spot inspections.
So kids love that, and they get free hot dogs and drinks, and it's a really fun day.
It was a fun day.
Your friend Donna brought her 3 grandsons that last year,
Yeah.
and they had a wonderful time, she said.
Yeah. It is a fun day, and it is really informative, and it's great for the kids.
Mhm.
Kids get to do wrenching and a lot of different things.
Yeah.
It's a really hands-on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they get to really understand how water is moved.
Yes.
Which is important. So I think that's it for us. That I know of. I don't think we have any other stuff going on.
I have a deposition I have to be in at 10 o'clock, or I have to be there for anyway.
Okay.
Well, we'll just keep this going.
I would love that, actually. My choice,
You don't
I
wanna be
would love
there, huh?
it.
As fun as that sounds.
Yes, it really is a blast.
So, thank you very much, everybody. We meet next, are we meeting monthly now?
I don't think so. I think this
Says
was just
April
because
next
there had
time.
been
Okay.
a little mix-up in
Yes.
the previous, so April is
Okay.
the next one.
First,
And
Yep,
that'll be
April
in Canyon Lake, I
21st.
think,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
We switch back.
Yeah, 'cause I
and forth.
think January was because we couldn't get December or something.
Right,
Right,
right.
we missed one.
So we were just making up for it,
Yeah.
because it seems like I just saw you all.
I know.
There we
Yeah.
go.
And I'll be at the TMDL next Wednesday, and if there's anything earth-shattering about the spring treatments or anything, I will make sure to.
I am eventually going to make it to the TMDLs. I'm getting myself situated where I'm away from my office as much as I can be right now.
Oh, and I did forget about our Quail Valley. I go like this, it's a roller coaster. I get happy, I get sad. I was sad because the last I heard in a report from Eastern, they were not going to be able to break ground on the sewer system until 2017. And it's 10 years, the moratorium is 10 years, you know, so, and Eastern has worked really hard to get grants and to get the engineering done. According to Ron Sullivan, who is their board member, everything is done. There's a group of people through QVEC who go door to door and get the right-of-way letters signed. They have all signed but 59. I think there's 150 homes and approximately 60 vacant lots. They have all but 59 signed, which is
That's
way
amazing.
ahead of the game. And most of those 59 left are people who live remotely, and they're gonna need maybe somebody to go to their offices and get the signature. We don't know. But anyway, Ron said all they're waiting for is 2 checks that are sitting, I think it's at the Department of Water Resources, but I'm not positive which department. I think one is for $5 million and one is for $4 million, which they've already been approved. Everything has been approved, but the checks haven't been mailed. Somebody hasn't
Or the
signed
funding
them.
agreements,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Sometimes we
they're
don't.
really upset because they've been chomping at the bit. They are ready to move now in the 4th quarter of 2016. So I'm trying to get Melissa Melendez to write a letter to, it would help if the city of Canyon Lake wrote a letter and said, we just want this funding, which has already been approved, to be released. So Eastern, which is ready to actually do the job, can start it and get going in the 4th quarter of this year. And it's really, getting so close. I can taste it. That's how
Yeah.
close it is, because I was bummed that we had another winter, an El Nino year, with water pouring into Quail Valley, pouring out of Quail Valley into Canyon Lake again. And you can see from the test numbers, it's always
Right.
Fairweather and Indian Beach that go sky high because of Quail Valley. And also the San Jacinto River and Salt
Right.
Creek too. But if we can plug that hole, that's a big hole
Right.
for East Bay.
Yes.
And
East
so
Bay is our problem.
I have to in fact call Scott Mann, because I think he and a group of us are going to go to the regional board meeting on March 11th and ask for them to write a letter to whatever this department is to release the funds.
Okay.
And I have 2 councilmen from the city of Menifee. Anybody from the city of Canyon Lake is welcome. We have 10 residents. We were thinking of getting a bus, actually, to go at 9 a.m. to the Loma Linda Council Chambers where the meeting is going to be held.
Okay.
And just speak in public comments and say, please help us. We're so close. We need to do this, hopefully to get something started before next winter,
Yeah.
when we get the winter rains again.
Yeah.
So, that's it.
Okay, we're good?
I'll take you guys all down the elevator.
Okay.
Yes.